Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, welcome to another movie episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's getting upset because they're not a master with me tonight?
I am the Senate, Kerry, Chandler, Carusetta on Twitch.
I am Peter. This is where the fun begins. Bingham-Pankratz. At Peter BP on Twitter.
And also the author of The Fifth Civilization, which I've read 200 pages of so far.
Yes, indeed.
Because I apparently
Sci-fi.
cannot read a book in my house unless there's pictures in it, and there's no pictures in your books there.
There's a picture on the cover. I think that counts. I guess it's not in it, but it should be enough to get you through it.
It's good. I've enjoyed it. I just can't read apparently when I'm home. So
I'll do a graphic novel someday, and you can
okay,
read that.
I'm all on board.
There you go.
No, I went a little off topic. So we made a joke on an episode that came out before this that we were talking that I want to say to you, Peter, since you're here. We were talking about Shadow Complex. We were talking about Orson Scott Card. I'm like, I can't read Ender's Game until I can't read a book from a frickin' bigot until I read a great book that I have sitting next to me. I haven't finished yet. And that was a joke.
It's an honorable comparison.
Well, he's a piece of shit, but which is too.
I mean, what I mean is not comparison. It's an honorable thought. I don't want to be compared to Orson Scott Card.
No, nobody. No, the guy. Ugh. But I kept getting like, I don't know. But enjoying now. But we are here to talk about Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith that came out in 2005. Damn,
2005.
it's almost 1 year old.
Time ago.
18 years.
That is a long time.
It was a different Star Wars era. A completely different era.
Very different Star Wars era. I've been listening to a podcast that I'm listening to old episodes of a podcast from 2009. And they're like, the episode I just listened to today, they're talking about how Disney is buying Marvel. And they're talking about, what's that going to be like? They're like talking about like, yeah, there's never going to be an Avengers movie. Disney won't do that. There'll never be an Avengers. They're just like convinced there'll never be an Avengers movie unless it's made by Pixar. So.
Oh man. What a time capsule of an era.
It is. It's a whole other era of time.
So I actually I never saw this in theaters.
You never did?
No, I skipped it because I didn't see the second movie either. I saw both of them on like DVD at some point.
Okay.
I was still drinking the Kool-Aid. I saw this in the theater. I was 22 years old, and it was the first one where I was like, I don't know about this one. When I saw it in the theater, like I loved Phantom Menace when I saw it when I was 17. I loved Attack of the Clones when I was like 19 or whatever. But then this one 22. I was like, maybe I'm too old for Star Wars. I don't know.
No, it's just the movie. It's not you.
Interesting. I saw it opening day, and I remember. I think I had the opposite. I was like, finally, a good Star Wars movie after a while.
Oh, really?
I was still young in high school, but I could.
But
I feel like
that's the way I feel this time.
Yeah. So I just had the complete opposite progression of you.
It's not a bad movie. I just have issues with it, but it's...
Oh, for sure.
It's entertaining.
I think it's by far the best of the three, but I know you like Phantom Menace a lot.
I really like that.
Well, and we know people that have been listening to us on here know that we all found things that we enjoyed with Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones.
Right.
So we didn't sit and hate on them as much as people probably expected, but I like this one more than either of those. I had problems with it, a lot of problems with it. And I also felt like a lot of it was really fixable. Like it felt like fundamentally at its core, a solvable movie.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the tragedy of it is that if it had just been a little bit more effort was put into it, it could have been stupendous, but it was not. Even as much as I like it, I know that it's definitely very flawed in many ways.
Because in between this, because we watched Attack of the Clones and I finally watched Tartakosvsky's Clone Wars, I have a more appreciation for a couple things in this movie that make more sense now because I watched that show that at the time was canon.
Yeah,
there were two things that hit me. One, the fact that how Chancellor Palpatine was kidnapped because you saw it in the cartoon. Right. And the other part is that that they were sent far away for a while because he makes a comment when he sees Padme and he's like, I haven't seen you in so long. And I guess it never registered, but after watching that cartoon, I'm like, okay, yeah, because they were sent off to the far reaches, and they're, it just made it made things make a little bit more sense, and I was okay. I like that. I mean, they're small things.
And also it introduced General Grievous instead of you just being, oh, here's a guy. He looks like a droid, but he's not a droid because he's walking around coughing and shit. cool.
And the
right?
fact
But the
that
cartoon like actually introduces him, and we get to see him fight and get to see how he got his lightsabers and how we know that he's trained and all that. It is weird. It really felt like this movie thought that people watched that cartoon. And I remember I did watch a little bit of that cartoon, and it was really hard to find. Like, you just had to happen to be watching Cartoon Network when it came on in between other stuff.
But I think it improves this movie in a small way. Like, I enjoy majority of this movie. I only have one complaint. It was my complaint that I had for almost 20 years now, is I don't like the change. I don't like what pushes him over, because the more, like, yes, the Clone Wars things and all that, like, you can see he's already always leaning towards the dark side and there's more Palpatine, but as a movie standalone, or even just comparing to the movies, it's just not a good enough motive, and you could easily make it a better motive. You could easily change a couple things, and I would think this movie is great. And that's what upsets me.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's like his reasoning for becoming Vader and doing it is, I mean, yes, you see Palpatine doing his machinations, and you see him, like, oh, you should be on the council, knowing exactly what that's going to trigger. You have the thing of him telling you the tragedy of Darth Plagueis. Like, you can see him, manipulating Anakin, but like, it's still not enough. Like, his reasoning, like, okay, his whole reason is supposed to be, like, I always thought this until I rewatched the movie, is that Padme's going to die because he had a nightmare, which I'm pretty sure Palpatine gave him, and that's why he joins them. But at the same time, once he starts killing them, it's like, there's no mention of Padme until the end. He's like, who cares about Padme? I'm busy, the Jedi are evil. Like, he doesn't even care about her. That's how I felt.
I don't know that he doesn't care about her. It just, it's kind of, he goes from, I want to save Padme to, okay, I'm going to murder children, like, so fast. So quickly. It's such an abrupt change. And the thing is, he goes to Mace Windu saying, we need to arrest Palpatine. And he goes from that to killing Mace Windu, or helping kill Mace Windu, and then murdering a bunch of children.
Yeah, like, it's in the course of like 2 hours.
It's abrupt.
In movie time. It's like,
it's too much. And his reasoning for killing Mace Windu is because they're going to kill him. And he's like, well, I need the secret of how to, keep her alive. It's like, it just bothers me a lot.
Yeah, I don't think I quite understood that watching it 20 or 18 years ago, that he still wanted to capture Palpatine. He didn't want him. He wanted him taken alive so that he could question him about the secret to immortality or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is I know it's the past, but it's pretty futuristic. Like, he couldn't maybe just have have Padme see a doctor or something?
Well, we'll get into that at the end,
Yeah.
With people losing wills to live and things like that. Various
there's so many little things they could have done to make it better.
Well, and another thing is that it's supposed to be this, like, tragic fall from, like, noble Jedi to, Sith, but it's more just like whiny asshole to murderous asshole. Like, he's never good for more than, like, 30 seconds at a time.
And, like, I was talking to my wife about it. She, like, because one of the things I'm like, when Padme's like, you killed a youngling, Anakin. She's like, well, yeah, he killed kids. I'm like, killed kids before. She didn't care then. I love you. Let's get married, you child murderer. Like,
well, yes. I mean, as long as they're non-human kids, it's
those were basically Native Americans. So,
yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
She is a queen.
Right.
Unfortunately, you're not wrong.
Former queen. She's a senator now. Sorry.
No,
she was elected queen, whatever that means.
This film does, on its own, it does suffer from what Attack of the Clones introduced, which suffers from what Phantom Menace. I almost call it Phantom of the Opera. Phantom Menace introduced.
Yeah.
So it's hard, even if this was done well, it'd still have to, reconcile with what happened in Attack of the Clones. We weren't in the era where every Star Wars film negates the previous Star Wars film.
Yeah. See, they should have just had J.J. Abrams come in and go, no, forget everything. Right. Forget all that.
He was actually really beloved. He was a hero to everybody. He was never a jerk. Yeah.
I mean, there were good scenes. It's just that change it's bothered me before, and it always has bothered me, so I had to start with it just to get it out of the way.
Right.
Like, I just don't like the way he changes. I mean, there's just not enough. And, like, also a meme hurt this movie for me too, which I gotta elaborate now on. Because, like, I never thought about it. When he goes to kill Dooku in the first part, there's enough time between the point where he takes those lightsabers and cuts off his head for Dooku to say anything to be like, yeah, he's not who you think he is. Like, something.
Yeah.
And, like, I didn't think about it, but when I saw the meme that said, you do know he's the Sith Lord, check him, he has a lightsaber. Like, he doesn't say nothing. He doesn't try to talk himself out of it. He doesn't. And all of a sudden, you hear Palpatine go from, the normal voice to, do it! Like, he becomes, like, he changes, and nothing. Anakin's like, okay, cool, kill.
Right, and then he feels really bad about it. And then, but it's really, it's everybody is stupid around Palpatine for the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
He's clearly the bad guy from, like, 5 minutes into his first scene in Phantom Menace. He's clearly bad. Like, he's cartoon villain bad. And I think it comes down to that, this was made for children, except we have, children being murdered and stuff, but it's ostensibly made for children. So it's not being super, like, it's being over the top. Like, Palpatine is over the freaking top. And, I mean, Yoda is around him, doesn't notice that he can't sense his emotions, doesn't notice that he can't sense his thoughts at all. I don't know, can't sense that he's holding a lightsaber. I mean, I don't know, like, is as in tune with things as Yoda is. He doesn't notice anything is off.
Hey, he can only sense people dying galaxies away, or maybe not galaxies, but, like, another, planets away. He cannot sense somebody on the same planet, or right in the same room.
He can sense Anakin being in pain from across the galaxy.
In the outer rim.
Whenever Anakin's mom dies.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And they never really reconcile with that as a failure. I think at one point Yoda says, I failed, or something along those lines, but they never really say, how could I have not seen this? No one ever says, he's been there the whole time. They're just Yoda, like, well, I guess he was a Sith.
Well, and Yoda tries to kill the Emperor.
Yeah.
And fails, but not, spectacularly. He just, they have a good fight and he gets bested. And then he just tells Jimmy Smits, I have failed. It is time to go into exile. It's like, wait, what? That's it? You tried once and it's like, all right, well, better just let the galaxy be enslaved for 20 years.
Yeah, it's like it had to fit the Empire Strikes Back. Like, he had to get a reason. So I was like, well, better go into exile immediately. And it's like, you have Jimmy Smits. You could go off and organize a counterattack or something,
Yeah.
I know all the Jedi are gone, but, maybe some of them are survived. Some of them are survived. The point is just, it has to retroactively fit what's already established, so it makes it very sudden and forced.
This is we talked about this in the Phantom Menace podcast. This is the entire problem with prequels.
Yeah.
Is you're starting off with the ending already preordained, and you're building a movie backwards, and it is going to hurt the story. I don't think any prequel is ever going to work that well.
No.
Honestly, for any movie series.
Not unless you dive far enough away as a prequel.
Oh yeah. That's what you do. You have to do, like, the Silmarillion. You have to just go, like, 50,000 or keeping it with Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. Let's go. Knights of the Old Republic is taking place 50,000 years before Star Wars. 50,000 years. So, or isn't it 50,000? I mean, I think that's what it is. It's an insanely far back amount of time. And so then it can fit fine. It has a very good story. It has a better story than any Star Wars movie since 1983. and it's a damn video game that has to have all this video game bullshit in it.
And again, it's just like such little things could have altered it. Like, even though I've absorbed so much knowledge of Star Wars, and I've tried to absorb so much knowledge, it still doesn't make it good. Like, I was thinking, going back to this movie after watching all of Clone Wars, watching Tartakosvsky's Clone Wars, like, it's still just too sudden. No matter what they do, you can't make it look good in this movie, to me.
Not in this movie, no. I think the Clone Wars, the CG Clone Wars series does a better job.
It does. I mean, there's parts where he has
maybe that's what can work with a prequel as a series, where you can deep dive and really explore things. Maybe that's what works.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just bothers me so much about everything with the change and the way his attitude gets. And it's just like, it felt like there was too much of it after he turns about, I hate the Jedi. And just, I mean, like, he forgets about Padme because he's so angry at the Jedi.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't work for me.
I'll talk about what I like. I do like the opening. I do like...
yeah, we can go there.
The cold open. I do like... Well, we finally have a war in Star Wars. We've had 2 movies with star battles. And the last movie, the war starts at the very end. But, finally we get the Star Wars we've been hoping for. And so I like that we get a little bit of the Clone Wars. If you didn't watch the, or the Cartoon Network series, you wouldn't have seen any of the Clone Wars, and this you at least get a little bit of it here at the opening.
It's good.
Yeah,
I will say, I do like it. It does go on a little bit too long. It has too many little adventures, but for the most part, I think it's a good way to open this movie. It's pretty banging.
I did laugh that you keep seeing Tamora Morrison die.
Yeah,
right.
over and over and over again. And then Anakin goes back to save. Is it who does he go back to save? Is it Cody or Rex?
Because Rex wasn't invented yet.
Rex hadn't been invented yet, so it's Cody.
Yeah,
he flies back to rescue him.
And then I like Obi-Wan's like, oh, they're doing their job. It's pretty much like they're expendable. They don't matter because they're clones.
Yeah. Did
we see Anakin fly or anything in Attack of the Clones? Other than the land speeder or the Coruscant speeder, because he's supposed to be the best star pilot in the galaxy, and this is the only time I think where he's really piloting a starship.
Yeah, we don't see anything.
Well, we saw him do it as a Phantom Menace. I'll try spinning. That's a neat trick.
Yes. Very loose definition of the best star pilot in the galaxy is he accidentally blew up a ship, but
and he did a barrel roll.
At least we get to see him do some fancy moves. Although Obi-Wan's not a bad pilot either. So
no, Obi-Wan's doing great.
Yeah. It's really kind of a toss-up.
But that opening is a really good opening. Especially after you watch.
I think it's a little too busy, honestly. But
there's a lot going on.
It's hard to tell what's what.
The buzz droids, it's kind of like, okay, we had that adventure. They take them a long time to get to the General Grievous' ship. It's like 10 minutes of flying.
Mm-hmm.
And then on General Grievous' ship, there's too many little quirky adventures. First of all, they call turbo lifts elevators, which is really off-putting for me. So that's a very American term.
Do they call them turbo lifts in Star Wars? I know they do in Star Trek.
Or what do they call them? No, they call them. They don't call them elevators. That's for sure.
Yeah, they don't call them elevators. Yeah. But anyway, I think they call them lifts. But anyway, they do
this
that.
Would be fine.
There's a whole thing where they get in. And it's like, did you press a button? No, did you?
Yeah.
Or like when Anakin goes up on top and then he drops back down, and Obi-Wan nearly cuts him in half. And it's just and R2-D2 having his little slapstick with the super battle droids. Yeah. And squirting oil all over them and then setting them on fire with his rocket engines.
Yeah. It's the pacing is really off there because it seems like they have a sense of urgency and then they keep getting these funny scrapes, which I guess is a kid's movie. You're supposed to laugh that all the droids say Roger, Roger all the time, but it's like, come on. They're not threatening at all. That's really the problem with the battle droids in general, even the super battle droids, which should be threatening. They're not threatening because they're just there for comedic relief. Yeah. And in Phantom Menace, they were kind of threatening. At least they made an effort to make them threatening. In this movie, they're just, Yeah, I mean, we see them straight, kill some Jedi on the Battle of Geonosis. So yeah, there's something.
I mean, droids can fight. Like, they're not as useless as this movie tries. Like, tries to show at times. Like, they're definitely more powerful than that.
Apparently, they aren't. Not in this movie.
This movie is going. It doesn't
really matter what happens in a cartoon or a comic book.
Right. Well, that too. But I mean, or games. But just in general, like just looking at like 1 and 2, I mean, the droids are. I mean, destroyer droids are still frightening. Like when they run into destroyer droids, they still run. They still leave.
No, they're not very
fast. Yeah, they still leave them. Yeah. They don't fight them.
They do. Yeah, they do run. Because they have shields, so they can't reflect their things back on them.
No, you gotta toss a grenade in slowly.
I do actually. Yeah, I like the beginning of the movie. Other than this stuff, I like the fight with Dooku is pretty good.
It is.
When Christopher Lee flips down to them, and it's like, could y'all not have had a stuntman do that and do an actual flip? Like that's one of my biggest problems with the prequels, but especially the second and third movie, and this one more than any of them, is the just absolute lack of any practical anything. It's just so much great. Like they are clearly not on a set for almost this entire movie. Yeah, they're in like a giant green room for almost the entire movie, and it shows. That is a huge problem with the prequels in general, especially the second two movies, where they didn't do any real filming in any locations. Like it was all filmed in like an Australian studio with green screen. Yeah, and the thing is that again, have a stuntman do a little front flip off the balcony, and it would have looked really cool. I mean, that's what they do now with like the Marvel movies. They have stuntmen that do flips and have cables and stuff, wire work. And they could do that back then. I mean, we had seen The Matrix.
It was just the timing, right? I think, where everything had to be computer generated just because that was cooler.
Well, but I mean, we're only 6 years after The Matrix, which had all this practical effects. It was blending of green screen and practical
until
effects.
The second movie.
That was Lucas's big thing, though, for a long time. Yeah. He was like, well, why? We don't need to worry about all that stuff. We can do it all digitally. And he was a big proponent of that.
Yeah.
And so the movies are very reflective of that. And he thought it was cool. He thought it was the shit. It was like, look what I could do. I could do all this stuff. Isn't everybody going to... And this is how the movies are always going to be made.
Pretty soon we won't even need actors. Yeah.
He was right in the point. I think there's been a backlash since then.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. I like
but still, the fight is good.
The fight is good. The way Palpatine is foreshadowed, he's in the big chair. He swivels around.
It's very much the throne room, like without the steps. It even has those little like circular like control panel like rings.
Yeah, I like that. It's a nice callback. It's very much, whenever they foreshadow Palpatine's rise, it's kind of cool.
It's too brightly lit. Would have looked better if it was dark, but yeah, it's good. I don't know what purpose that room serves on that ship, but. It's fine.
Well, I mean, look, why does Palpatine, in the Return of the Jedi, why does Palpatine have his throne room right above the reactor shaft? It doesn't really, unless he.
I figure because it's the center, but then he has a window to the outside, so it's not the center. I guess it's the pole.
Maybe it's under construction, so they were going to put in flooring next week. That's what I assume.
Yeah,
they were coming. They hadn't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah. I never thought about that. Why?
They just should have had a sign that says caution, some caution tape around there. Be like, all right, don't worry about this.
See, if it was made, like, if it had been made with the prequels, that's what I bet that would have been there somehow. Just a comic relief for some stupid
reason. Let's explain everything, because everybody wants everything explained.
I do.
Who else I like? I do like General Grievous. When I saw this movie and I did not see the cartoon, I did not have cable. So I knew nothing about General Grievous. I think I had heard there'd be a droid villain, but I give it kind of props for not explaining anything about him. Because there's not even line of dialogue, not even one sentence is like, oh, he was a cyborg that fought the Jedi or whatever. There's nothing about General Grievous. It's just, he's the bad guy. He's a robot and maybe he's an alien too. That's it.
The only thing you get is he tells Obi-Wan that he learned to fight with a lightsaber from Count Dooku.
Right.
That's it.
There's no context. There's nothing else about it. It's just like, he's got that.
Yeah.
I think that it might be a fault of the writing, but they would not do that today. Like, even the Marvel movies, they explain the villains, at least with a couple sentences.
Yeah, they would they would over-explain it. I agree. Right. You're right. We don't need all that. But it's just like, why is he coughing? Like,
yeah.
I mean, we know he's coughing because Mace Windu fucking, like, tried to collapse his freaking lungs.
Right.
Like a Sith. Like, Mace Windu, like, seriously just tries to freaking murder him by crushing his chest with the Force.
That's a good scene in that cartoon, though.
It is, but it's also like, what the fuck? Like, that can't be. That can't be.
It made this a lot better. It made this scene better for me because I understood now why he's coughing.
Yeah. Yep.
I still like the Manadroids. I think they're not Manadroids. Whatever the hell, the Magna Guards. I like those things a lot.
Droids. Yeah, I like the Magna Guard droids too. I'm curious about their staffs because not just the purple part, but the center metal part also blocks lightsabers.
Beskar?
Yeah, they clearly chop one like directly, and he just blocks it with the middle of the staff. And so, curious what that's supposed to be. If this was a video game, we would find out that it has a cortosis shaft, but this isn't the video game, so. But I like them a lot. It's Beskar. Yeah, there you go, it's Beskar. But anyway, they maybe I'm getting mixed up from this new season of Mandalorian because they also have the exact same staffs in that. So
yeah,
but yeah, I like their style. I like just the big gangly robots, big gangly droids. They look like they're prototypes for General Grievous.
No, I didn't think about that, but yeah, you bring up a good point.
They're very similar design. But yeah, I love Grievous. Like whenever later in the movie when he gets to the planet where Obi-Wan eventually kills him, when he gets off his ship and he just immediately just like chung 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 walks real fast. I like the way he walks. He walks like a bird.
Oh yeah.
He does. He walks like a chicken walks. or something. It's like a dinosaur, right? Because birds are dinosaurs. That's what it looks like. It's a dinosaur. It's like it's like the T-Rex. That's what it's like. It's like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. That's how he moves. That's how his legs move and stuff. And it looks really cool.
Okay.
They gave him some affectations that are never explained, but are just make him distinctive, as opposed to a lot of the other villains, which are not distinctive. like Newt Gunray, for instance.
Yeah.
From the first in this fight.
Yeah.
Did you notice there's two Neimoidians in this movie? Well, there's Newt Gunray and his like helpers, but there's also one on General Grievous's ship, and they very maybe a little bit of growth on Lucas's part, do not give him a super stereotypical Japanese accent. He has instead just a really weird, annoying voice, but it's not doing a Japanese accent. So
maybe somebody pointed out.
Yeah, someone might have pointed out, "Hey, George, this is insanely racist." And he's like, "Fine, I'll just make him sound like a stupid Muppet instead."
Well, I mean, we're getting a little ahead of, but I believe Jar Jar has 1 or 2 lines in this movie. I think he just says, "Excuse me."
I was going to say I didn't notice if he said anything.
I didn't.
I think he says "excuse me" when at one point when they're walking and somebody he bumps into someone or something, and that's maybe his only line.
Wow. Yeah. So Lucas also listened to that feedback.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's not a terrible character. I don't hate him as much as other people do, or much of the fan base does.
We talked about him in the other episodes. We talked about the flaws / redemption, but in this movie, he's a non-entity.
Yeah.
So
He's there.
He doesn't play any role in this movie.
He's in literally 2 scenes. He's there when they get to the Senate, and he's there for Padme's funeral, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, like the part where
C-3PO is also barely in it.
Right.
when they're on the ship.
Although I've got problems with that. We'll get to that because that's at the end.
Yeah.
I got a problem with that too. I agree. I know what your problem is. I agree with you.
Oh, yeah,
but the other thing in the opening, like when Obi-Wan gets beat up by Dooku, I mean, Palpatine's like, just leave him. And I do like that Anakin stands up. He's like, his fate will be the same as ours. I mean, it's a simple way of saying I'm not leaving him, but I'm like, it's fine. Like, I like it. It doesn't fit right, but I like it.
No, I thought it was good. It's showing that Anakin hasn't fully gone over yet.
Yeah.
That he cares about Obi-Wan. He's like his brother, and he's going to protect him. And I like that a lot. And I think that's good because for Anakin's downfall, I think it's really important that he feels like that Obi-Wan has betrayed him.
Right.
Yeah. And they don't do a good enough job of it, but it's they feel that way.
That's another thing I didn't like. It's not enough.
It's not enough, but I think if he did feel like Obi-Wan betrayed him, that would help a lot. And he does. We just don't he doesn't have enough reason to think that is the thing.
Yeah, he's very stupid. Like, Anakin's stupid too. Like, he's just saying, Obi-Wan betrayed me. And it's like, what evidence do you have? Like, Obi-Wan's telling you, like, no, you dumb but dumb. Palpatine's the one who's doing this. And he's like, no, he won't listen to it. And it's like, just listen to your friend.
He really seems like he thinks Obi-Wan's fucking Padme.
Yeah.
That seems to be the implication that he's making, like a little bit. And I don't know, maybe they could have gone a little further with that.
They could have. And I think it would have made it.
As in a kid's movie, though, it's already, by having Padme be pregnant, it's already skirting the line of what kids' movies.
Oh, and speaking of which, I mean, how long has he been fighting in the Outer Rims?
9 months, I'm guessing at this point.
Well, she is not even showing, and she's like, "I'm pregnant," and he's like, "We haven't seen each other in so long." She's like, "I'm pregnant." And it's like, cool. Doesn't do the math there.
She's completely showing it in the end of this movie.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't think it's that much time that takes place. It doesn't feel
like that much time is passing in the movie, but it has to be, unless maybe Nabooians like sprout like all of a sudden, like they're really fast.
I mean, who's to say they don't? When the Star Wars Anatomy book comes out, I'll go grab it at Barnes & Noble. And
I have a joke I have to make. When I was watching this movie, in the opening dialogue, or the crawl, it makes it. One of the things is there are heroes on both sides, and all I thought it was one person. Immediately came to mind.
That's what
there are good people on both sides. I'm like,
it's impossible.
Both sides. What?
I know. It was just. I'm like, heroes on both sides. I'm like, this is supposed to be coming from like. I mean,
and again. It never talks about that. It never says they're good people on the separatist side. It just makes it seem like they're all kind of just bad.
Yeah,
right. Maybe they're not, but we don't get an example of a good separatist.
Not in this.
Only in the cartoons. Right. I'm watching the second season of Bad Batch right now, and they just had I think one of the episodes I watched yesterday has to do with a separatist planet who's just trying to like live their lives. And they're like, Count Dooku was messed up, but he was right about the Empire. He was right about the Republic, wasn't he?
Right.
And it's like,
unfortunately, he was.
He was. They said
that's a very modern Star Wars take of the modern era, where it's
it really is
right. And this was the era where there are no shades of gray, except for the one line, there are heroes on both sides.
Yeah. It just made me laugh because it was like, I mean, yes, I know it's years before, but it just made me think of that. So it
is a very, Yeah.
Hey, so maybe he was a Star Wars fan. Maybe that day he just got done watching Revenge of the Sith and he went,
Well, the opening crawl did say.
That Palpatine guy, really smart. I really got to do more like that.
What a great guy he is. I'd hire him. Okay.
Everyone just falls for his plans. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not enough scheming, but I guess you can't really put a lot of scheming in a 2-hour movie. Like you can in a series.
There's some good Ian McDiarmid moments. I mean, he amps it up. He knows what type of movie he's in. You know, he knows he's playing a cartoon villain, so he goes all in. You know, the scene where there's a little bit of comic stuff where they're on the ship that's crashing and he's like making weird faces and stuff. And I don't know quite about that. It's like, he's like looking at R2 and it's like, this is the Emperor. And he's just like wide-eyed and flailing about.
The way that I took it is this is the one thing that isn't going by plan. Everything's planned out and this was not planned.
I mean, I could see that. I mean, I don't think he's completely omniscient or whatever, but it just seems
odd. That is something that neither the movie nor the cartoons have ever really explained. Right. Did he get kidnapped by Grievous on purpose? Did he allow it to happen? And does Grievous know that he's Sidious?
Right.
We know Grievous is working for Sidious.
I don't think.
So then why wouldn't Grievous just kill him?
Right.
He's taking him hostage, I guess?
Yeah. Because later on, Grievous takes orders from Darth Sidious.
Right. So we know he's working for Sidious, but he doesn't know that Palpatine is Sidious. He just happens to capture Palpatine. And then Palpatine, who could probably have just, murdered him, didn't, even once they were alone, and he could have gotten away with it.
Yeah, it's very unclear.
And so it's like, Palpatine's like, oh, well, now that I've been kidnapped, I'm going to just, I don't know, hope that Anakin shows up and kills Dooku for me. Or what if Dooku had killed Anakin then? Then would Palpatine have been like, all right, well, I guess, that solves that. I guess Anakin wasn't the next Dark Lord of the Sith. Never mind.
You'd think he'd have a backup plan.
Yeah.
Just in case.
I think the backup plan is to have the Separatists take over then.
Maybe.
Because he is playing both sides, and it does feel very much like at this point, after Dooku was killed, that he has enough control. Because, I mean, again, he could just have the Separatists come in, do Order 66, and be like, instead of killing you still kill the Jedi, but now you're working for the droids, too.
No, I don't think so, though, because he wants to rule the galaxy as a single unified empire, and the Separatists' whole deal is that they don't want to be ruled by a central unified empire.
Good point.
That's like their whole thing. I really think his whole plan from the beginning is create this big war and then be the hero who destroys the Separatist at the end, right? And that's why he has Grievous bring the Separatist leaders to Mustafar. And again, if Grievous is working for the Separatists, he doesn't go like, wait, but what? Take them to Mustafar? Like all of them? Like we want to put all of them together in one place? Like why are we doing that? And so maybe Grievous isn't actually on the Separatist side. He's on Sidious's side the whole time. I guess he is because he's taking orders from him. And he is like trained by Dooku. Is he Dooku's apprentice? Does he have the Force?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't get any indication that he has the Force. But I guess Dooku's like, but a droid could be really good with a lightsaber, so I'm going to train you anyway. And yeah, I don't know. It's a
little bit of the fault of the writing. As much as I think it's an interesting move for them not to explain it, it doesn't really make much sense when you think about it. If you're just a casual viewer of Star Wars, you're just like, who is this guy? Is he a Force user or what? You're going to have more questions than answers.
Yeah, I mean, really, you probably think that he's a droid until, you hear him coughing and you're like, why is a droid coughing? And you really, other than him coughing, you don't get any indication that he's not a droid until Obi-Wan rips off his chest plate.
Right.
And that's really it.
Yeah, he's a very good villain. He just is not really explained at all.
Yeah.
And it just leaves for more questions.
Yeah, and then, but really the biggest thing, I think, the biggest flaw in the movie of all is just how dumb everyone is, except for Palpatine. Every single person is just mind-numbingly dumb. The Jedi Council, it's like they've got this clearly volatile, moody child, and they're just treating him like shit. And it's just like, that he's like insanely powerful, right? and you don't want him to become bad. You want him to be good. I don't know, maybe talk to him.
Well, he goes to Yoda. He goes to Yoda and tries to get, confession, essentially, what it reminded me of, that idea of it. And Yoda's like, oh, yeah, you can't have commitments to anybody. Let's let it go. They die, they die. I'm like, you.
Yeah. I think the modern take with Star Wars is to be like, oh, well, you see, the Jedi were bad. They were they were done. And it's like, I guess, but I don't think that's what the movie's trying to say.
No, it's not. It's trying to say that Yoda was in the right. The movie's point of view, I think, is Yoda was right. And the view that Anakin's too impulsive and too emotional to handle his responsibilities.
Yeah.
Because all the good characters say that. There's no good character that says, oh, the Jedi are wrong.
Right. And so the thing is so Palpatine maneuvers to put Anakin on the council.
Right.
The Jedi agree to this for, I don't know, I guess they have to?
Because they don't have to. They do it because they want to use Anakin against Palpatine, which is what causes part of the problems too.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. That is what it is. But then they're like, we don't afford you the rank of master. And Anakin gets really upset about it. And their response is, sit down and shut up, basically. Instead of being like, well, listen, look at us. Like, every one of us is like elderly, except for Mace Windu, right? Yoda's like 900 freaking years old. Like, you're like 18 years old, and you haven't even, you've only barely become a Jedi Knight. Like, you're still, I don't think he's still a Padawan. I know in the Clone Wars cartoon, which was canon, he actually had just right before this movie taken like the oaths to become a full knight. But they could be like, you literally took the oaths to become a knight like a week ago.
Right.
Like, you don't just go straight to master. You will be on this council someday. You're like the prophecy chosen one. You're probably going to be the head of the council someday. Be patient. It's going to be okay. Like, they could just talk. They could just talk to him. But the movie depends on them being shitty to him to help push him to the dark side. And it doesn't fit it doesn't fit what we're supposed to be thinking about the Jedi.
No, it's too much. It's too much. It's not, maybe not too much. It's not enough reasoning for a normal person to get behind Anakin and be like, yeah, of course he turned against those bastards. Like, there's just not enough to manipulate. Right. There, even with the show, I don't think there's still enough in here. Like, it just doesn't do it for me. That's my hardest problem. And also, another thing this is a me problem. There's not enough Natalie Portman in this movie. You had such a great actress. You're like, we don't need her.
She existed to be pregnant and die. That was it in this movie. You think in the first movie, she's storming the castle right alongside her troops. She's, in the second movie, she's fighting in a coliseum against monsters and stuff and riding around on the back of a rhinoceros shooting things. And in this one, or a cat, maybe, I don't remember, is a cat. And in this one, she's
on the rhino.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. It's the rhino, because the rhino hits the cat.
The cat would just kill her.
Yeah, and she's riding on the back of a rhinoceros and shooting people and dressing like kind of like teen action Princess Leia. And then in this one, I think that's what they were going for. Like in the second movie, it's supposed to be like an updated 2000s version of Princess Leia's white uniform or white dress. But yeah, in this one, she literally is just there to breathily talk about being pregnant and love and then die.
Yeah. She spends most of the movie looking out her apartment window.
Or standing on her balcony. She brushing her hair.
Yeah. There's no action. And then when she does finally do action, she barely leaves the ship before she's choked to death.
Right.
She's like literally standing next to the ship that she just arrived at. It's like, come on. You don't give her anything to do. And her dialogue, I think we could, like, all the dialogue in this movie, it's bad. Or a lot of the dialogue is bad, and her dialogue especially is.
Her and Anakin like flirting on the balcony.
Yeah.
It's like it's so bad. She's like,
it was
just like, you're beautiful. She's like, I'm beautiful because I'm in love. He's like, no, your reason you're beautiful is because I'm so in love with you. And then she glares at him and goes, so love has blinded you. And he's like,
right. Oh God,
I wouldn't put it that way. And then she's immediately smiling again, like she hadn't just scowled at him. And it's like, what is going on? And I guess it's that she was teasing, but it was too abrupt. It's just the whole thing. And she's talking about like, we can go to Naboo and I'll fix up the baby's room. And just like, I don't know, give her something to do.
Like, why don't you have her organized clandestinely with like Mon Mothma or Jimmy Smits or whatever to like have her be like, we got to do something about Palpatine.
And that's the thing. She does have one other scene,
right?
Other than those scenes, and that is she and Jimmy Smits and I think Jar Jar go to the Senate and watch the Emperor basically become the Emperor. And she goes, and this is how democracy dies, with thunderous applause. Right. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's a good line and very accurate. That was good. But that's it. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You're right. A good scene would have been her and Mon Mothma and Bail Organa and maybe a couple of other people meeting and conspiring to start a non-violent rebellion, to start like a secret caucus of senators who are going to oppose the Emperor.
Right. And Mon Mothma was supposed to be in this movie originally, so they cut her. Yeah, she was originally in it, and then they cut her out.
Did they film anything, or she was in the script?
Yeah, no, sure. She was in it. She was played by the same actress who played her in Andor.
Oh, really?
Genevieve O'Reilly. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so they did. That was a good thing Andor did, was bring her back, despite being cut out. Although she was in Rogue One as well.
Yeah, she's in Rogue One too. Yeah.
But yeah, I think what I read, she is in the movie for like a split second. You can see her like on a Senate pod, but her speaking scenes.
Her in E.T.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But yes, that is a bit of trivia. She was in it, but they deleted those scenes. So.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that would have been cool. You could have had like an entire B plot or C plot that's what is Padme up to, and in fact, that could even help, because then Anakin could feel like she's conspiring against him.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that littleness would have helped the movie, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. It could have just been like, oh, you're meeting with Bail Organa. I knew you were against me, or something. You know, Bail Organa is against the Empire, or against Chancellor.
Or Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan could be meeting with them also.
Right.
And he finds out and he's like, so Obi-Wan's part of this. You and Obi-Wan can always conspiring behind my back. Something like that. Right. I mean, you could make it work.
Right. Yeah. It's a missed opportunity. For sure.
And another thing, not on that, but something we talked about earlier, but I was thinking of things you could do to fix this when I was watching it. Because I watched it and then I rewatched the Red Letter Media takedown of it, which I used to watch over and over again, back in the day. And I watched it for the first time in like 7 or 8 years. And he's actually pretty, I think he's actually pretty fair to it. And he does, like, I think he, like us, he's harder on it than we are, but and this isn't a point he made, but watching him and watching the movie, I was just thinking and reflecting, what could you do to fix it? And one thing would be, don't have anyone kill the younglings on screen, or don't even have the younglings in the movie, right? We already showed them, so we know they exist. And then all we have to do is show the clone troopers marching on the temple. We don't have to have Anakin leading them. We could have the Emperor just send Anakin to Mustafar to kill the Separatist leaders, which is something that Anakin would probably have done already.
That's how I felt too.
Anakin he wouldn't have to talk Anakin. Light side Anakin would not have had to be talked into killing the leaders of the Separatists and ending a war that's killing billions of people that hard, I think.
No, I agree with you. Like,
he'd probably be okay with it. And then you just show the Order 66 killing the Jedi. You don't have to have Anakin going around killing all the Jedi. But I don't know. I think they just needed him to go from the character of Anakin to the villain of Darth Vader in a finger snap. And it didn't have to be that fast. But.
No, I mean, they could have done other stuff, because time does progress later on in this movie. We'll get there. But, like, it's just everything. Yeah, I agree with you. I would have liked that more if you didn't have the younglings, you didn't have him. You just, because again, most of the Jedi aren't even at the temple. And as we see in this movie,
spread out around the galaxy fighting.
It doesn't take much for a clone trooper to kill Jedi. They don't need Anakin to kill Jedi.
Right.
And I'm sure a bunch of younglings aren't gonna need like, oh, we got to send in our best man. Like, no, I'm pretty sure send in the clone trooper. We have millions of them. It'll be fine. They'll take them out.
By the way, one of my favorite scenes in this movie is when the clone troopers are telling Jimmy Smits, they're telling Bail Organa that he has to leave the Jedi Temple, and he's like walking away. They're like escorting him to his speeder, and this youngling comes flying out of nowhere, somersaults in between them, and he takes out 7. I counted. He takes out 7 clone troopers before he's killed. That was badass.
Yeah, that was.
I love that. I was like, yes, because he's older than the other younglings. He's like 10. He's like my son's age. He's like 10, 11, 12. And it's like that. Yeah, there would be those, and that was a really cool scene. I like that a lot.
That is, and that could have been all we needed to see of a young Jedi.
Exactly,
because that was powerful enough. So
it is. It's very powerful. You see him get shot and fall off of a skyscraper, and you're like, oh god. And Bail Organa's like, no, and and then has to jump into his speeder and escape. Which then, I mean, he's still a senator 18 years later,
right?
So. Or at least his daughter is. Maybe he wasn't. Honestly, I mean, that's the thing. Maybe I mean, we know he's in the now, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to explain it. Maybe they asked him, like, so, did you see anything there? And he's like, no, it was very confusing. If they try to determine what his thoughts were about that, he's like, oh, I really didn't see anything,
Yeah, it's probably still early Empire, hard to just arrest a senator, right. Also.
Yeah,
because he still need the Senate.
Yeah.
The Senate's still around, yes.
The Senate's still around for 18 years.
They're going to need to remodel after what happens later, It's close.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a mini issue with that part. Like, when you see Yoda and Palpatine fight in the Senate, shortly after that, when you see the Senate again, everything's fine. I mean, you don't get it. You don't see the whole room, but you see some of the room where he is talking to people. I'm like, there should be chairs missing all over the place.
Is that before or after?
It's after.
It's after?
It's after.
It bothered me.
Yeah, and maybe also just that they. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just had some funny thing to say. Like, we had a little, little hovercraft malfunction or something.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, he tells them what happened. He tells them the Jedi tried to assassinate me. They tried to overthrow the Senate, and that's another thing. This like so the Jedi who've been the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy for 1,000 generations, according to Obi-Wan. And 1,000 years, according to Mace Windu, but either way, whatever. Versus this dude that looks like some sort of alien monster wearing a black cloak going, they're the bad guys. And the Senate's like, yeah, no, totally. Makes sense. Sounds right. Applause.
But I want to go back to that line. I really, really like that line, how democracy dies with thunderous applause. Right. Because there's been multiple times in real life, unfortunately, where I've said that line as I watched things on TV I didn't like. Yeah. So it's come up multiple times in the last few years.
Yeah, this movie was definitely a response to George Bush. And the Iraq War, for one thing.
We're 2 years into the Iraq War, so.
Which George Lucas was opposed to, and was believed that it was kind of the beginning of, like, showing how, an American democracy can quickly slide into fascism. With the line
that later.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still going on.
Yeah.
The line that's, if you're not with me, you're my enemy. Which is a terrible line in this context. Was that what George Bush said about after 9/11? He said, if you're not with us, you're against us. Which is absolute.
That why we had freedom fries instead of French fries? Because they weren't with us?
Yes, that is.
So we're going to change the name of fries because fuck you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know. I remember the Secretary of Defense at the time, Donald Rumsfeld, saying going to war without France is like going to war without your accordion or something like that.
Right.
It's like they were the dominant military of Europe for like 500 years, you fuckstick. Anyway.
I know, this is getting political. I don't know how much politics we do on this.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
You know what?
Yes.
This movie's completely political.
No, I'm just saying. I just wanted to add to that in that when this movie came out, there was the kind of intellectual conservative commentary was very much against it, and they thought that George Lucas was making Star Wars political, and they were very upset about that because they loved
the last two movies. No, 3 before that.
All of them. The bad guys have stormtroopers.
Right.
Which is what the Nazis called their soldiers.
They were very upset about this movie. So.
And they commit genocide.
The final scene of A New Hope is shot-for-shot remake of Triumph of the Will. These movies have always been... No, that was the opposite. That was the opposite of what it should have meant. But still, whatever. Movies have always been political. This is ridiculous.
Right, yes.
But no, I remember that. Yep, I remember that was very much what people were saying.
I mean, I think as a kid, when I first saw these, I mean, I was high school, but I didn't like some of the political stuff. Now I appreciate it more.
Right.
It's just... the dialogue is better in this movie than 2.
I just realized I was in graduate school when this came out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely was like, oh, yeah, no, I pick up what I'm picking up what he's throwing down. Yeah, I got it.
I graduated high school in 2006, so right, the year before this, I was a junior then. Would have been this year a junior.
Yeah, this Yeah, this is my first year in grad school. It's 2005. So yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I mean,
I was just going to say the dialogue's better for the most part, besides like what we were talking about with Padme. It is better. I mean, okay, until
far better than Attack of the Clones. Yeah.
It's mostly okay. Like I don't think we talked about this. Like the whole stuff with like the way that like the humor works, especially with Obi-Wan. I love some of the Obi-Wan comments, the way he is in this movie. He's great.
Does one thing they could have done, they could have had like a dude in one of the Green Man suits, like, I don't know, in front of him, like doing stuff, because it's clear that they just like had him on a soundstage by himself, and he's so like his reactions don't match what's going on around him a lot.
Yeah.
But yes, Obi-Wan,
like
Obi-Wan's fun.
Hello there, General Grievous. Or no, Obi-Wan Kenobi, or however it goes.
He goes,
hello there.
Hello there. And he goes, General Kenobi.
Yeah, it's just so great. Like, I think partly because the meme makes it so much better for me.
But I like it. I like he loses his lightsaber during the cat chase, or the lizard chase, and Captain Cody picks it up, or Commander Cody?
Commander Cody.
Yeah, Commander Cody picks it up and then hands it to him, and then, like, 10 seconds later, orders him to be killed. But
maybe too bad they weren't a little sooner for them.
But that's been retconned, that they all have microchips in their brains that make them do that. That's why they just immediately switch the. But
I like that idea. I'm happy that was put in there.
I'm not. I think you could just have them be conditioned,
right?
And then the fact that some of them disobey it, like, makes more sense. Like in Bad Batch, it's like, oh well, because they're a bad batch, that's what they do it. And Commander Cody eventually changes because he's able to just mind over matter the inhibitor chip eventually. Rex, I don't know what Rex has his taken out.
He has his taken out. It's in the last season of Clone Wars.
Get it taken out.
He does. They burned it out of him.
But who took it out?
Ahsoka electrocutes him. Not to get rid of the chip.
So his
tried to kill him.
His was disabled on accident.
Yeah, that's how they figured it out, because I don't remember correctly, but something happened where she electrocutes the hell out of him, and it isn't to disarm him, it's to kill him, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen the last season of Clone Wars. I need to rectify that. But still, I would rather it's just that they were mentally conditioned, and then have some of them not do it. Have some of them resist.
Yeah, I mean, that would work too. I mean, it doesn't bother me in this movie. Like, I don't like the scene, but I don't like the scene for personal reasons, because I don't like seeing all these Jedi just get killed.
Oh, I love
That's
it.
A me thing.
I love Order 66. It's one of my favorite
movie does great.
Movie.
It's a good part of the movie. It's well done. It's just a me issue. So I always like to point out, like, my issues of a movie, not like where a movie I think does bad. Like, it just bothers me, but I think it's a good scene for the movie, and it helps the movie a lot. Like, you need
the part of it that bothers me is a couple of them you're like, oh yeah, that would work, and then a couple of them you're like, man, that's a shitty Jedi. Like Rhea Sakura,
I mean,
or Ayla Sakura, she's just like walking with her clone troopers, and she just stands there while they just gun her. She doesn't even pull out her lightsaber, or she does. Yeah. She grabs it, doesn't even get to turn it on before she's taken out. And then what's his name? Conehead dude.
Is it Ki-Adi-Mundi or something?
Yeah. Yes, Ki-Adi-Mundi. He the way he gets murked is like, oh yeah, that would 100% work. He's flying in formation, and the fight, his wingmen just like pull back and shoot him from behind. There's nothing he could have done about that at all. But I love the way Yoda just like, Yoda murders like a ton of clone troopers. Like he like brutally kills, he beheads the two that are about to kill him. Like, pretty non-peaceful. I mean, I get it, it's self-defense and everything, but still. And then later when they're storming the temple, him and Obi-Wan storming the temple, he's just like flying around like a crazy howler monkey, just like jumping on their chest and like driving his lightsaber through, like up to the hilt into their chest and stuff, and pretty brutal. But yeah, no, I like Order 66 in general. I like the concept behind it. I like that part of that.
If either of you have seen the movie Manchurian Candidate, at least the old ones, I think that's what Lucas was going for. Or at least in that movie, the soldiers are brainwashed by communists, but they're activated with a code phrase. I think it's something like, "Would you like to play some solitaire?"
Yes. Yeah.
That immediately activates them from good, red-blooded American to communist infiltrator.
Or what the CIA was doing in MK Ultra.
Right. Yeah.
It's like allegedly Sirhan his trigger was to see a woman in a red dress. So
it's It's a technique that's out there, yeah. And they never in this movie they don't explain what it is, but you get the sense that Palpatine is using his dark magic on them, at least with the context of Revenge of the Sith. You're like,
I didn't think it was the Force. I just figured that he had this built into the clone from the beginning because this was always his plan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, yeah, that's
give the Jedi a giant army of child slave soldiers, which the noble, wonderful Jedi will have no problem commanding. And even though they say that they're not soldiers, they're keepers of the peace. And they're allegedly opposed to slavery, though they don't seem to do anything about it. They're fine with leaving Anakin's mom in slavery. So I don't know. Maybe the Jedi are pro-slavery. I don't know. But anyway, and then have all the slaves, kill them. Cool.
I guess the more analogy is computer programs. You have a back door built in that you can get in any time you want.
Exactly.
A fail safe or whatever,
Fail safe. Yeah. Only it was always the plan. Yeah.
Right. I was just going to say, I like Utapau, even though I can tell a lot of those scenes were designed to sell toys, because you have you have the lizard creature, and then you have General Grievous's wheel cycle or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which are interesting.
I like his unicycle thing.
Right. It's interesting design. It's at least different than most of Wiwig in Star Wars.
Well, it's a real thing too. Like I've seen a Popular Mechanics article from like the 1920s of someone driving one back in the 1920s. It looks exactly like that, and it works in real life. So it's pretty cool. It would, it was CG obviously, but I'm just saying like that is actually a vehicle that could exist. And I like the big lizard that he rides around on.
Right, that's cool.
It reminds me of my favorite series of books, the Wheel of Time. There's a race of people, the Shan Chan, and they have cavalry that ride what are called Grom, which are basically those. They're like big lizard cats.
Oh God, it's been a long time.
It's exactly when I read the Wheel of Time. That's what I think about the lizard thing that Obi-Wan's riding around on.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, yeah. I vaguely, because Peter, you never got to the Shan Chan, did you? When you were reading Wheel of Time, or you just read the first book?
I just read the first book probably 10 years ago.
Okay, so you didn't get there then.
Yeah, I never got to it.
They show up in the second book, so.
Yeah.
But the Grom are in the second book. They show them in the second book, so.
Okay.
Though you don't hear their name in the second book, but.
No, because that series goes on too long.
No, good damn series. I've read the whole series 3 times. It's my favorite series, but.
I read it.
Nice.
Once and a half.
It's a taste, but.
I appreciate the commitment there.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a commitment, by the way. I used to have a bunch of those hardcover books, so I sold them for like $1 at half price books. Fuck you, half price. So,
I was gonna say another thing I like is when Mace Windu and those other Jedi go to arrest Palpatine. I like that scene between Mace Windu and Palpatine. Not the fight scene. The fight scene's kind of lame, but it's okay. It's fine. I mean, Ian McDiarmid's old, I guess, and they didn't want to. They didn't want to spend. Lucas spent all of his money on green screens. He couldn't afford stuntmen, I guess, but still, whatever. But no, the dialogue between Palpatine and Mace Windu, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I am the Senate is a classic line.
Yeah, that's exactly. A good line.
And Mace Windu's response, not yet. I like that. Like Mace Windu is like there for business. Like that is like Samuel L. Jackson time right there. Like he is in like full Samuel L. Jackson. Well, he's not full Samuel L. Jackson. He's at like a 4 on the Samuel L. Jackson meter.
Because he hadn't gotten there yet in his movie.
Up to this point, he'd been at a 1. He was playing it at a 1. Now he's at a 4.
He's tired of these fucking chancellors in this fucking Senate. That's all.
Yeah, he's not Pulp Fiction or Time to Kill yet. He's more Jackie Brown time, maybe. But he's there.
Or Jurassic Park. Hold on to your butts.
No, he's a little above Jurassic Park. Maybe Shaft. He's maybe Shaft level. He hadn't done Shaft yet, but he's maybe Shaft level.
I could be wrong. I think I read somewhere where Samuel Jackson said he didn't want to go out. I'm paraphrasing. I think he didn't want to go out like a pussy or something. Something like that.
That sounds like something he would say, by the way.
Yeah. And to be fair, I mean, he doesn't. He like fucks up Palpatine pretty bad. Like he was gonna kill him. Like he could easily have killed him if Anakin hadn't stepped in. Like he takes that Force lightning and just redirects it at him with his lightsaber and is melting his freaking face.
Yeah.
I did like that they did that just to show like how he became like that in Return of the Jedi. Like I do like that.
Yeah, and I was saying I don't like their fights. Their fight scene actually is pretty good once the other Jedi are dead.
The only thing that bothered me is after watching Tartakosvsky Star Wars, which is canon at this point, Kit Fisto is not a wimp. And yet Kit Fisto just dies instantly.
He goes down fast. Kit Fisto's taken down bam.
Never bothered me before, but after watching that cartoon, I'm like, the fucker was awesome in that cartoon in that one scene that he's underwater. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, and it would have been something if Palpatine had used the Force on him or something, but he just flies across the room, corkscrew. He M. Bison corkscrews across the room and just chops down 3 Jedi. Before, Mace Windu can barely take a step before he's killed 3 Jedi. But then he and Mace Windu have a good fight, and I really there's this thing where they swing around, and Mace Windu swings a wide. He twirls, and as he twirls, his lightsaber hits the window and just shatters that entire window when it hits the window. It's pretty cool.
Great. Yeah, and the wind's coming in.
Yeah, and then he disarms Palpatine and everything, and he's but and also I just want to say we don't see Mace Windu die.
That's true.
And I was watching this with my son, and I was like, what if old Mace Windu with a robot arm shows up in Ahsoka?
Man, it won't be Ahsoka, but I want to see him come back.
It honestly wouldn't bother me. As much as I kind of can't Star Wars just have some new characters and do some new shit, is one of the things I really like about The Mandalorian outside of season. I don't know. I think The Mandalorian's season 1 and 3 do a good job of just being we're not playing the hits. We're doing our thing.
Yeah.
A little bit. Really, they just needed to. Luke should never have been in Mandalorian. That's it. They should never have entered Luke into the equation at all, or Ahsoka, honestly. But that's fine. It was fine. But anyway, as much as I'm like that, I kind of think old man Mace Windu showing up in Ahsoka would be pretty cool, especially because Ahsoka's supposed to be a gray Jedi, and Mace Windu wasn't a gray Jedi, but man, he probably should have been, because he definitely.
You could tell. It seemed he was pretty high up on the chain. He could have been, he just needed a couple more decades to be really great, maybe.
Yeah.
He was about to commit murder.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was brutal, and according to the what's now Legends, he was able to tap into anger and aggression without using the dark side, and that's what made him the best sword fighter, the best lightsaber fighter, except for Yoda.
Okay,
but that's no longer canon. That's no longer canon. Right. But it was from one of the video games. I think there was the different lightsaber fighting styles, and one of them was one that he developed where you use anger and aggression without tapping into the dark side, and it's very difficult to do. Or something. But anyway, so my point is I think he fits with Ahsoka pretty well, actually.
I would agree with that. I like that idea.
Yeah, and have him be old. Samuel Jackson is. God, he's 80, isn't he?
No, he's got to be 70.
Or 70, yeah. Okay.
He's getting up there, though.
He's very old.
He is. Yeah.
He's old, and, he got his arm chopped off, so have him have, a droid arm that'll look real cool. Give him, a Terminator arm.
I've seen concept art of what they think he would look like what people... okay, not concept art, but just, people doing pictures, this is what they think it would be.
Nice.
And he's still one of the few characters that's never been almost everyone we know, because there's a ton of Jedi that survived, at this point now.
Have been brought back in cartoons and stuff, but he hasn't.
Yeah.
But he goes flying out that window and just flies off into the distance and out that window, and it's I don't know. I think Mace Windu could survive that.
It's a long way down. He could wake up at some point,
Yeah, exactly. It's, he could use the Force, when Luke got his hand chopped off and then jumps into the shaft. And manages to direct himself into that little trash chute or whatever. I just pictured Mace Windu possibly doing the same thing. So I think they could definitely use him if they decide they want to, and if he wants to do it. I think he'd be up for it. He kind of seems like he'll do anything, and he's already
pretty much done with MCU.
Oh, he's got a series.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be I think it's going to be a one shot thing, 8 episodes, whatever it's going to be, and I think that's going to be the end of Nick Fury.
Yeah. I'm sure,
in my opinion. I just think that's where they're going with it. That they're going to just put away the character. Well, he's in the Marvels movie.
Yeah, he's in the Marvels also.
So maybe. I don't know. I just feel like they might, because they're putting away everybody else. We're never going to see him.
They've got a Skrull impersonating him, so he can play the Skrull that's impersonating him.
Oh, yeah.
Too, so he can stick around even if Nick Fury dies. He can still show up in that way. So
but I could see him coming back as Mace Windu. That would be great.
I think they could, and it'd be one of the few examples where I would be okay with it.
Oh, and they kill off Plo Koon in this movie too. He's the Jedi as a pilot gets shot and killed really quick in a scene.
Oh yeah.
And he's barely in this movie. He's in the first movie.
It is Plo Koon that gets. Yeah, I got mixed up. Ki-Adi-Mundi is leading troops across a bridge, and then
they shoot the hell out of him.
They just fall back, and that again, it would have been kind of cool if he like stood his ground for like a few seconds, but he doesn't. He just turns around and is like, huh?
Yeah, they all kind of die. A lot of them kind of die pretty easily.
Yeah, really, the only one that we see put up a fight is Yoda and that kid.
Yeah.
Even Obi-Wan doesn't really put up a fight so much as just survive miraculously by falling into a pond.
Yeah, pretty much. Because they waited, they didn't time it right. Like they should have waited till he was an easier shot, not just go for him when he's.
Well, no, he was going. I mean, he was going away. Like he was.
Oh yeah.
Shot him, yeah, as soon as they could, but.
Yeah. Oh, we haven't talked about. I like seeing Kashyyyk in this. Like I do enjoy that. I think that's some good scenes too.
I do, but
yeah.
I did not like them shoehorning Chewbacca into it. But otherwise, yeah.
Is there anyone who likes that scene? I don't know, because it's just a throwaway thing. It's he's just there to be like, you guys like this guy from the other movies? Well, he's back.
Yeah, we're not going to pay that. We're not going to pay the actor that played him,
right?
Because we don't need him anymore. Because we can just use CGI. We don't actually need a 7-foot tall actor anymore. So
yeah.
Though he might actually be a guy in a suit in this. I don't know. He probably is.
He might be. Peter Mayer might be credited.
Yeah, but hopefully he gets residuals on it.
I don't know what his contribution was. I mean, I can't imagine it was too much of anything.
But he's standing in the background a couple of times doesn't make any noise, doesn't do anything, and then he's there for Yoda to say, "Chewbacca, my friend, farewell. I will miss you," or something like that. And it's like, so now Yoda and Chewbacca know each other? Like, was that really necessary?
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. Maybe you can answer this. Like when they show the footage of him killing the younglings, when they see it, they also see footage of him kneeling to the Emperor and becoming Vader. Wasn't that in the Senate office, not at the Jedi Temple? But then how do they have footage of it? Because they just have footage of the Jedi Temple.
They have footage from inside Palpatine's office.
Oh, it might be like a separate file. You just got to go.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
You explained something that bugged me.
I figured that the Jedi have cameras in Palpatine's office to spy on him.
Then maybe they should just show her how he killed Mace Windu, not show him killing kids.
They should show her all of it like they did. Honestly, they need to convince her because she doesn't believe it. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Anakin would never kill kids. Never.
Yeah.
Or women.
It's a very real world thing too. I mean, I don't have too many problems with it but that's like, instead of sensing something through the Force or like getting a Force vision, they're like, let's look at the security footage. Oh, it shows everything I wanted to do. I guess I don't have too many problems with that, but
no, I have less problems now that you guys explained that little thing that was bothering me, because I thought it was like they're just looking at like the Jedi Temple stuff, and I'm like, well, they shouldn't have this. But okay, that makes more sense.
I guess if you need to explain to Padme, because Padme doesn't have the Force or really doesn't use those powers, you got to show her some actual evidence that something's going on.
Yeah, but I think it makes sense because they still don't know what happened. They just get there and find all the dead children and a bunch of clone troopers waiting for them.
Yeah,
and they set I do like the little thing that Obi-Wan says, that he set the transponder to send a message to stay away from Coruscant.
Yeah,
I like that too. I think that's really good. I love how much that has played in the canon, because they've done a lot with the Jedi since then. Like I know one scene that was deleted from this movie that was canon in a game that's no longer canon, Force Unleashed, where they had Shakti was supposed to get killed in this movie, then they cut the scene because they were going to put her in the Force Unleashed game that was coming out eventually.
Oh,
I did watch that. Yeah.
Which one is Shakti?
It's on YouTube.
She looks kind of like what Ahsoka, the same race.
Oh, okay.
I think they're the same race.
Yeah, they're similar to Twi'leks, but Ahsoka's something else. It's another head tail race.
In the original, in the deleted scene, General Grievous kills Shakti.
Oh,
on the ship on the ship at the beginning. Like it was an alternate version of one of those scenes. Yeah.
So. Oh, that's cool.
That would have been cool. So, really, what would have been cool is if we had gotten to see what happens in the Tartakosvsky Clone Wars, where he's kidnapping Palpatine, and he fights those 4 Jedi and kills 3 of them.
I mean,
such a good scene in that cartoon, man.
Yeah,
it helped me.
It is really
this
cool.
Movie more.
It is really cool. I mean, we talked in that episode. It's kind of dumb. Like the Ithorian has like the Black Canary powers, but that's fine. Don't put that in the movie for sure. But the rest of it. So I don't know if the CGI was up to having an Ithorian Jedi at this point.
No, probably not.
No.
I mean, well, they have Yoda Jedi, so maybe they could have done it, but it cost too much money. Not selling the toys. And then I don't think anything else to say about like Wakashi's just cool. I mean, besides Chewbacca, it's cool. And then to kind of talk about the last part where Padme then goes to Mustafar to go see Vader. Well, go see Anakin. Except he's there for a long time. You think he'd just be there, kill him, and leave. Like from the time that he leaves to go there, and the time that Obi-Wan then tells Padme, you think enough time would have passed that they would have been done.
Yeah, I mean,
I know I'm nitpicking.
I don't know what he's doing. He's kind of moodily simmering there, so to speak, on this volcanic planet. I do like him killing the Separatists. I think that's...
I do too. I think Kerry said it earlier. I completely agree. That's something that he would do either way.
Right. He's just chopping people, and they're like, "No, don't!" But you're on our side, and just slashes them. And
we've already surrendered. We've already surrendered, or will surrender, or whatever.
An ignoble end to these people who were from the first film. Well, at least Newt Gunray is from the first.
Yeah.
Just kind of get.
I don't know if the others. Did we see them at the Separatist Council of Count Dooku in the second movie?
Yeah, I'm the
Techno Union.
Yeah, those guys or whatever. They're there.
Banky Clan.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they work in a few. It's a very small scene that you see them before they all start getting gutted real quick, and then it moves the camera away.
Yeah.
He just walks in, closes the doors, and just like, all right, let's get this over with. It's a good scene.
Executes them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Felt realistic. And then the fight with Obi-Wan and Anakin. I know the young folk really like it. I think
the young folk.
Yeah, that's what like the people that were like little kids when this came out that are like all that kind of like have rose-colored glasses about the prequels a little bit, I think, online, talk about how great this fight scene is. And I'm like, I don't know. It's not good to me. It's too much. It's too long, first of all. It's like way too long. And it's interspersed with other scenes that are happening elsewhere. And it just keeps coming back, and they're still fighting, and they're still fighting, and still fighting. And then also it's too flashy. Like they're not fighting realistically at all. They're like just like swinging around super fast, like doing tons and tons of twirls. And you like compare that to the really great looking, still not realistic, but really great looking fight scene with Darth Maul at the end of Phantom Menace. That's a better fight scene. Way better fight scene. A way better fight scene than this one.
I also wish Anakin would have had a red lightsaber already instead of the blue one.
No, I don't think so, because why would he have a red one?
Because his father, he gives Obi-Wan has Anakin's lightsaber.
Yeah, so Obi-Wan has to get it from him in some way, first of all. And there's no reason for Anakin to change his lightsaber color just because he switched sides. He changes because Palpatine gives him one because he needs a new one. So I think it makes sense for it to be blue, but I get what you're saying, that it's hard to follow what's going on in the fight.
It would have looked cooler in the scene, if that's what I'm going at.
Well, yeah, it's a better color, but it just wouldn't have made as much sense, I guess. We would have had to explain how Obi-Wan...
I mean, this movie doesn't care about sense anyway half the time. So.
Right, yes. I think one problem, I have two things to say about this. One problem is this lightsaber fight scene is interspersed with another lightsaber fight scene between Yoda and Emperor Palpatine.
Oh.
And I think just in my mind as a viewer, if there are too many lightsaber fights, it just kind of blends together.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you had just interspersed it with, Palpatine throwing the Senate at Yoda, that would have been better. But two lightsaber fights going on at the one time, it kind of makes me feel like, which one should I really care about or pay attention to?
Yeah, and right now I'm watching a cut on YouTube where they just cut out all that and they have just their fight.
Yeah.
And how long is it? I was curious.
I think it's 2 parts. This is 9 minutes.
Yeah, that's
of just them fight. I mean, it goes too long.
Ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
What Kerry said, it's too epic. I mean, it's too flashy. For me, it's too busy, because if you compare it to like Empire Strikes Back, which has a much quieter scene, that everybody says, oh, that's the greatest lightsaber duel in the original trilogy at the very least.
Oh, I definitely, yeah.
And that doesn't have, nobody's jumping on platforms or lava platforms, or like, there's no droid that comes up to them, like look at them and turn away or whatever, There's no cutesy stuff.
Like, right. What's the point? Like, what are they trying? Like, is Obi-Wan trying to get away? Like, I don't understand. Like, I understand in a fight that, you travel sometimes, take your enemy off balance to change terrain better in your favor. But it's like running across a pipe does not seem like the terrain is going to be better for you. Like, I don't understand.
One thing that happens is they accidentally turn off the shields.
Right.
Which I was watching it and I was like, why does they have a button to turn off the shields in their lava base.
Where your butt can hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they just hit it on accident. They just bang into it. And
I mean, what if Bob comes in and Bob had a few too much to drink today, and Bob just happened to lean over and hit the button? Well, sorry about that base we built, guys.
The base starts to melt and explode and shit because they built their base inside a volcano for mining lava, apparently.
Yeah.
Why do they mean to mine lava?
I don't know
exactly?
why
they need obsidian?
Lava.
They're trying to build like a nether portal or something? Like, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. The whole thing doesn't make sense. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's all dumb. There's no reason for it to be on a lava planet in the first place. All we need is for Anakin to get horrifically injured to the point that he has to be in a life support suit
because of the toy. One of the toys on the back of it, could have swore Peter told me this back in the day, that Anakin, that Vader was all burned at one point.
We know he's burned. We see it in Empire.
Yeah.
It was in the Return of the Jedi novel. It mentions Obi-Wan is talking about how they fought, and he says, Anakin and I fought, and Anakin fell in a molten pit and was scarred, or was burned.
So there's some different ways you could do that.
Yeah.
There's different ways you could do that. They could have been fighting in a foundry.
Right, exactly.
Right? Or
another line that's always stuck with me, Peter, that you told me many, many years ago, when I first saw General Grievous, you're like, they made him to sell toys, and that line has stuck with me for 18 years, Peter. 18 years I still quote that line.
I think
you're wrong.
I don't remember saying that exactly, but Star Wars, they're not exactly not going to look for ways to sell toys.
That's been since Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
So much stuff is in there to sell toys. So
like the goal with this fight, it just keeps going to, like you were talking about, when they're on the lava raft and they're just fighting, and it just keeps going, and I'm just like,
there's a lot of doozy lines. My least favorite line is when Anakin says, "From my point of view, the Jedi are evil," and it's like that's like kid dialogue. That's like 7-year-old dialogue. It's you don't need to say your point of view should be obvious. You don't actually have to say my point of view is that you're bad. Come on, that's stupid. Like a placeholder line.
It probably was a placeholder line, and then they're like, "Okay, we got to film." And he's like, I wrote that, right? Yeah, I wrote that. Lucas wrote it. I'll go with it. Sure. Must be perfect first time."
I think everything is a placeholder line is the thing. I don't think Lucas did one draft.
I mean, there's so many things that could have been that would have worked better. Like, the Jedi betrayed me. The Jedi, something. Like, I have to do this to save Pat. Even he just said, I have to do this to save Pat.
How about they left my mom in slavery to be gang raped and murdered by Tusken Raiders. Better. And they won't let me be with my pregnant wife. Better. And I watched them try to murder the Chancellor. Give me some of those.
The movie.
Yeah.
You just got to get an actual machine, Kerry, and go back to 2005.
How about they take children from their parents when they're babies and then don't let them ever meet their parents or have any kind of relationship with their family ever again? How about they're, a bunch of like, they're like a cult of virgins. I mean, there's so many things you could say about them.
My point of view.
Yeah, it's just kind of, dialogue really needed to be revamped. You need to have someone other than George Lucas write it. Because he's not a writer.
He's not. He's an idea man.
Right.
He's an idea man, and he's a director. I mean, I feel like he would have been like a really great like AD. Like he would have been a really good like setting up shots, second unit stuff for like a better director, honestly.
Yeah. I can see that because
or he'd be a good director. I mean, that's the thing. I think he's got some good shots and stuff. I think he's got some good use of color and contrast and stuff in his movies. He's not good at dialogue or story. That's really what it is. He's not a writer.
Yeah.
And like everything when like the whole high ground thing, I don't really like that either because there's too many times throughout these movies, even like the 3 of these, or 2 of these with Anakin, like he jumps over shit all the time.
Or Obi-Wan.
Yeah, like all they had to do.
That's how he killed Darth Maul.
I mean, all he literally had to do is just jump on the rock. Why are you jumping over him? You can just jump on the rock and just keep fighting. Like, you don't have to make that leap that he makes. It's you could have just changed it so he had no choice. Like, you could have had it be a completely hill where Obi-Wan jumps up before him and he's like, I have the high ground and there's nothing else for him to climb on, so he makes the bad jump. Not there being an actual incline where he could easily just walk up.
Well, and I can believe that Anakin is rash and makes bad decisions. We saw him leap at Count Dooku and just get his shit handled in the second movie. I can believe that, but there's no reason for Obi-Wan to say, give it up, Anakin. I've got the high ground. All he had to do is just say, "Come on, Anakin, stop this. I don't want to kill you." And Anakin be like, rah, 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 and jump at him, and then he slices him down. But I think better would just be they're fighting next to like a molten pit, and just they're trading back and forth. They're both doing really well. Anakin scores a couple of like light touches, and Obi-Wan's hurt, and then all of a sudden, just Obi-Wan, bam, bam, just knocks his lightsaber out of the way. Chops off his arm, chops off his leg, and kicks him into the pit of molten stuff.
That would have been better, or have it be an accident that they're fighting and he falls in there.
Yeah,
you could have done it. You could have done it a different way, and I think it was a very one draft or something. One draft of the script. Wasn't very much thought put into it. Yeah, I mean, I think we could. I mean, it's all pretty cool that Obi-Wan just leaves him there.
Oh yeah,
the side of the.
He's like, I won't kill you. I'm just going to leave you to burn to death.
Right.
I mean, I understand that he couldn't kill him.
Right.
But, I felt like it should have been something where the chance is just not there for him. Or he thinks he's dead.
Well, what if instead he sees him and he's like, Anakin, no. And then all of a sudden, just a bunch of Imperial ships show up and he's got to run.
Yeah. Because they get there pretty quick, it feels like.
No, it doesn't feel quick. That's the thing is
I said it wrong. They make it seem like it's quick, but it doesn't feel quick. Sorry, that's what I want.
Yeah, it feels like, and sometime later, the Emperor showed up with some stormtroopers or some clone troopers, and then he tells the clone troopers to go get medical aid for them, and they both just run off and leave him. And the Emperor also leaves him. Everyone just leaves him where they found him. And then they perform surgery on him, apparently without anesthetic.
Yeah. Well, that I can believe that the Emperor is trying to prove a point or something. Cost.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Health insurance isn't part of being a Sith Lord.
Morphine's all been shipped to the front lines. We got a little premium supply here.
Yeah, we don't have Bacta tanks anymore. Also,
Palpatine's just talking about supply chain issues and stuff, and he's like, "I'm sorry, Anakin, we can't." Darth Vader. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a muddled, rushed transformation to Darth Vader, and or transformation to Darth Vader in the suit that we all know. Why does he have this suit? Did he have this prepared? What is this for?
Yeah, I'm guessing they built it custom.
Yeah.
Which then is also a thing because he's more machine than man is what Obi-Wan says, right? But David Prowse is 6'8",
right? And
Hayden Christensen is definitely not.
Yeah.
Maybe he is. I don't know. He doesn't look like it. It's just he becomes huge, and it's I mean, you didn't chop off his torso. You chopped off one arm,
and 2 legs.
One arm and 2 legs.
They
I guess he
it's one arm, both legs. I'm looking at it right now.
He has one arm, both legs, and then his robot arm that he has from the second movie is what he's climbing up.
Yeah, that's the one that didn't get cut off.
Yeah.
So pretty much all his limbs are new limbs, are all robotic limbs.
And he's close enough to the lava that he catches on fire, but apparently they weren't close enough to lava to catch on fire when they were standing on floating platforms that were literally dipping into the lava, which do have shields on them, but the shields don't go up around them. They just protect the platform. But whatever. He catches on fire from being near it, which is realistic. But then when the Emperor finds him, the fires are out. So
oxygen.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe he's using every last force power to keep himself alive. That's how I guess it.
Okay, I can buy that because he is super powerful in the Force, and we do see that in other things too.
In
he can't get off
Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
And the novelization of Shadows of the Empire, they talk about how when he's out of the egg thing, he heals himself by tapping into the dark side and thinking about all of his hate and anger that he has towards Obi-Wan and also the Emperor too. And it heals him, and he becomes well again and doesn't need the suit, but then he becomes happy, and that shatters it, and he immediately goes back to being, which is dumb, but that the healing is only you have to, it's you have to hold it.
You have to hold the hate. But I'm okay with that.
It's at least a creative explanation.
Yeah. It's an explanation for why he can't be healed, or why he can't heal himself. Yeah. I mean, I think a better explanation would just be that Jedi can't heal themselves, they can only heal others. There you go. And that the Emperor is oh yeah, I never learned healing, sorry.
Well, healing wasn't invented in a movie until way later in a Star Wars film.
Okay, I'm fine with healing, though. It's been in the video games since the 90s, so it's fine.
And then you have the classic line of, no!
No.
When the Emperor tells him, "Oh yeah, Padme's dead," killed her.
Where's Padme? Is she okay?
Force choked her, and then you just were like, who cares about her? I gotta go fight my friend.
Yeah, I'm thinking he doesn't really remember what happened very well. Is what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But the Emperor's like, it seems that in your anger you killed her, and he's like, no.
It's so
and then of course at the very end we have to see that they're already building the Death Star.
Yes.
And it's like it took you 18 years to build the first Death Star. 18 years, really?
It looks like it's a good 10-20% done in this one.
It does.
I mean, this is supposed to be some years later, I'm assuming.
That's what we assume, but there's
no any indication of that.
There's no indication. The way the movie's set up, it's like it could be like a week later.
Yeah, and it's played that is concurrent with Obi-Wan taking Luke to Tatooine.
Yeah, because that's the last scene.
It shows it shows Bail bringing his wife the baby, and another thing I hate in this movie that is a tiny thing, them bringing back Qui-Gon.
But he's not in this movie.
He's not, but Yoda's like, also Qui-Gon Jinn has learned how to achieve immortality through the Force, and so you need to he's going to teach you how to do that so that you can so we can explain why the only two Force ghosts we see, except for we see Anakin later. So just don't do that. How about just don't do that? Don't explain it. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, it doesn't need it, especially if you don't have a payoff. Because I read that they were going to film a scene with Liam Neeson, but it didn't work out. So why have it in there anyway, other than to explain that? Because it makes it seem like, the next scene you're going to see like Obi-Wan, you're going to see Qui-Gon for like 10 seconds, and he's going to be like, "Let me tell you how to be a ghost." But it's not.
It's just pointless. It's like, did they think that we really have all been wondering? Have we all been sitting around wondering why is it that the only Force ghosts that Luke sees are Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Anakin?
I mean, the way that Kid Mike assumed it is these are also the only Jedi alive, but even at the same point, these are the only Jedi that have any meaning in his life. He don't know who the fuck Mace Windu is.
They're the only ones he knows. They're the only
Not
ones
the fact that Mace Windu didn't exist at this point, but still, he doesn't know the other Jedi. He knows these Jedi. I mean, it makes sense that...
I always got the sense that, if something if you're a Jedi and you have the space wizard powers, you could become a ghost. And it wasn't I didn't think it was a lost art or whatever. Only Qui-Gon was the first guy to do it or something. I never thought that. I just assumed it's what you did when you died.
Yeah. Yeah, I assumed that you had to be very powerful to do it.
Yeah.
Right? I assume that. But another thing is, as a kid watching these movies, watching Star Wars, I never assumed that there were hundreds of Jedi.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Well,
we're not ever given any reason to think that. Obi-Wan Kenobi says for 1,000 generations, the Jedi were the guardians of peace in the galaxy, peace and justice in the galaxy. That's all he says. That could indicate that there's hundreds of Jedi. It could indicate that there's 5 at a time, right? They could be like the Justice League.
Yeah, or less of them. You don't think there's thousands of them, I think, when we, at this point.
I don't know if there are. That's the thing, is the movies never really make it clear. On Geonosis, we see about 30.
Yeah.
But then the temple is really big, so it seems like there must be a whole bunch.
The number I seem to remember is 2,000. That doesn't come from the movies, obviously, but I feel so whatever source material says there are 2,000.
2,000 makes sense. Because they've killed so many of them in other content.
It's just the thing about it is in, and we talked about this before when we talked about the other movies. In A New Hope, people talk about the Jedi the way we talk about Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Or in unicorns and shit. They don't even remember that they existed. And it's 18 years after this movie. Not even 18, right? Luke's supposed to be 16. Well, maybe he's supposed to be 18.
So it's literally what happened. If something happened in 2005, we're like, do you remember when, Janet Jackson showed her breast on TV? That's a mystical thing or whatever, That's the equivalent.
Janet Jackson, that's a name I haven't heard in quite some time.
Exactly.
Hey, that can be true.
Yeah.
It can be true, but it's a little different than if Janet Jackson were basically the assistant to the president or whatever it was,
Yeah.
What the Jedi are. We talked about it earlier, but it does kind of make the world smaller. It's less mystical than the original movies made out to be. But that's a problem with all 3 movies. And we're at the end here, Natalie Portman Padme dies because she lost the will to live. Like,
yep, she dies of a broken heart.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks.
I hate this.
Why not say she's dying because and we're not able to save her, but we can save the babies? How about say she's dead? How about say she died, but we can save the babies?
Right. They wanted to give her one more scene, I think, of where she acknowledges the children.
Leia,
she has to name
Leia claims that she can remember her.
Right.
So she has to see her alive for like a second, I guess.
Right.
I mean, it's just could have been different. I don't know. It's a part that really like couldn't have been like she just sustained too much injuries from being choked or like anything like, or she just died during childbirth because she was gonna like. I guess then it would have been too much of the theory that Anakin was right. She was gonna die. Like she just died during childbirth just because like her body just couldn't handle it, which still would have been better than like. I just really don't like this. Like, it really bothers me.
Off the hook. They wanted to let Anakin off the hook, I think, because like he didn't do anything physical to her, and she would have survived had she not had her heart broken. I think is what they wanted to do. But they could have just said her injuries are too severe or something. You know?
Or someone else kills her, or she gets shot by a clone trooper, or any number of things could have happened.
I mean, I really think just that Anakin killed her, and Obi-Wan takes her back on board the ship, and the doctor's like, we can't do anything for her, but the babies are. I think we can save the babies.
It's
because they say, "Oh, we're going to operate." I'm like, okay, they're going to do a C-section, and you just looks like they just give birth because like that robot even has like a little like spoon paddles like things. I'm like, this is just weird. You guys do not have your words right here.
Yeah.
I don't like that she doesn't say anything about that. She doesn't say like take care of the children or something like that. She just says there is good in him. Like her last word has to be Anakin.
Yeah, though I will say I do like the idea of her saying there's good in him because that's what Luke says to Obi-Wan also.
Yeah.
I guess you're right. Okay.
But no, I agree with you, Peter. Like, I mean, I agree with both of you. I like the fact that it's there, but there should have been something about the kids too, not just there's good in him, and then she dies.
There's good in him, but protect the children or something. I don't know. Something a little bit easier or a little bit more motherly than that.
Yeah, I mean, I really think just don't give her a line there. I mean, we've already barely let her be a character in the movie.
Yeah.
And that bothers me so much. I'm a Natalie Portman stan at this point. Like, that's been clear on this podcast. I mean, I just don't like seeing her not get her due because she is such a great actress. And they just give her nothing in this.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. You ever seen V for Vendetta? That's the one that I always think of like, that's some fucking acting right there.
That came out the same year as this movie. Yeah.
Oh my
wow.
God.
Yeah, I sure did.
I didn't know that. I didn't put two and two together, but okay, that's bad because like that movie, like she fucking acts and in this, I mean, that just shows you it's not her. It ain't her at all.
It's the material.
Yeah.
I got one final thing to say, because now we're wrapping up, is that I do not like that they wipe C-3PO's memory. I think that's really dumb.
But it's the only way that anything that he does in the original trilogy makes any sense. What would be way better?
Yeah.
I got a way easier solution.
Right.
Don't have fucking C-3PO and R2-D2 be in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no reason for them to be in any of these movies. There was no reason except toys and member berries. And we go like, oh, there's the character you like. It's the same thing with Chewbacca. There is C-3PO and R2-D2 do not need to have had anything to do with the prequels. You could have had them manufactured after the prequels take place. You could have had some different, if you want to give us some droids, give us a new set of droids, right? It would be like if, I was about to say if it would be like if they're in the sequel movies instead of BB-8, but they are. So, fine. But
I know,
at least the sequels give us BB-8, right? And the Solo gives us the droid that wants emancipation. Rogue One gives us K2SO. Like you can have like a fun droid sidekick with comic relief that isn't these two characters. There's zero reason for for R2-D2 or C-3PO to be in these movies, and it just introduces plot holes.
I disagree for a little bit. I think it was always... I like the idea that George Lucas had for those characters being the only ones in all 9 movies, which is the original plan. And that the 9th movie, you'd see that it was being told by R2-D2 or something.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't mind the fact there. And then I think George Lucas just made it very stupid by having C-3PO created by Anakin, which makes it have to wipe his memory,
Yeah. And the thing is like... It just makes things. I agree. It is like thematically, it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
To have them, to be like the two characters that are constant throughout the whole series.
Yeah.
I get that, but it's just they Darth Vader is at no point like, hey, I know those droids.
Right. I mean,
no, or Obi-Wan's like, I don't remember ever owning a droid. It's like, you don't remember. You don't remember that. I mean, yeah, you didn't own him, but you don't remember hanging out with these two droids.
You'd hang out with them a lot.
15 years.
Right.
They were in a war with you. You don't remember that?
That was in 2005, man. You don't remember that?
Yeah.
That was 18 years ago.
Yeah, that would be insane. Like, it would be crazy. It would be like if you had a friend for your entire childhood, right, and then you didn't see them for 15 years, and you were like, I don't have any idea who the fuck that is.
Peter, who are you again?
Doesn't ring a bell.
That's a name I've not heard in a long time. Mike Albertin.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Nope. Yeah. Don't remember anything about it. Yeah, I think it's, for one thing, and I just don't like that it implies, too, that they're involved with Captain Antilles for 20 years. They're on that ship for 20 years? Come on. They had other adventures there. Come on.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
I didn't think about that either.
That's what it's setting up. It's setting like, well, they stay on this ship for 20 years. Come on.
Well, just the fact that they're on the Tantive 5 at the end of this movie is like, I mean, there's like 18 years in between these movies. Like, you don't have to be on the same ship.
Right.
No.
Yeah,
I guess it's fine. I mean, I guess I could buy that, it's a nice ship. You keep it around.
Yeah.
No need to upgrade.
But like, you don't need to even name drop the guy. Just put him on a ship.
Right. Yeah. It's too much fan service that fans don't even want, I think. I don't think anyone was wanting to know about that stuff. So
Captain Antilles, is that the guy that gets choked in episode 4?
It is. Okay. Yeah, and he looks the same age in this. It's a different actor, of course, but he doesn't age a bit. It's just
is he related to Wedge? Is he like Wedge's dad or something?
I think it's like a name like Johnson or something, from what I remember hearing. It's a common name on Corellia or something.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever.
Oh, speaking of Corellian, they do briefly show the Millennium Falcon. Though it's not, they show a YT freighter. Yeah, my son pointed out, we paused it when they first arrive on Coruscant after the battle in the beginning, when they're like first, like when Padme first arrives, when she and Anakin first meet up, you can see a YT freighter that looks exactly like the Millennium Falcon landing. Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I remember hearing that too.
Little Easter egg. I mentioned it because it's a Corellian YT freighter. Is why it made me think of it.
Makes sense. Oh, and I do want to mention like the terrible CGI for Grand Moff Tarkin for like the split second you see him for no reason.
Was it even CGI? Yeah,
I think it's makeup. I think it's
makeup. I think it's just makeup. Yeah.
I think you can find the image of that actor wearing if you look online.
Yeah, it didn't look like CGI to me. It just didn't look like enough like Tarkin.
Well, it's not good.
He's supposed to be 18 years younger, so
18 years uglier, and he's dead. I don't know. It just kind of bothered me. I'm like, this actor's not like, you don't need this. Like, just skip it.
Yeah, it's just another callback that they don't need. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of callbacks. It's right up there with with Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't need
it. But it's worse, in my opinion.
So I've been shitty on the movie. I have to say though, I watched it. I enjoyed it. At
the very end.
I actually watched it and I was like, yeah, you know what? This isn't bad. I'm enjoying this. I like this better than the other two prequels. I like it better than Rise of Skywalker. Definitely better than Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, I can't wait in December. I'm gonna watch Rise of Skywalker for the first time in theaters. I'm not excited for this.
I honestly like, I'm not a big Last Jedi. I'm like of two minds on The Last Jedi. I defend it a lot for being different, but then I think it's a bad movie. I just appreciate it for trying. Right. I don't know. I don't know if this is worse. I don't know. Maybe it is. It's hard.
Let's go to Shelf Stacker Box since we're already pretty much.
We'll talk about that in a couple months.
Yes, Kerry, you go first.
A box. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and this is like the third time I've seen this movie since 2005. I don't anticipate watching it again.
You can remember 18 years ago?
I haven't heard that in a long time.
And what about you, Peter?
Keep it in the stack. If you like Star Wars, you can refer to it every now and again. Like I do. I watch this film, every decade is fine. But it's not one I, go to when I need to have fun. I feel like the original trilogy for me is when I need something to make me feel good, I'll put that on. This movie, I don't really feel good after watching it. You have fun, but kind of leaves you on a dour note. So
okay. I'll go last. I'm gonna put this in the box. I'm completely agree with you. What your last point was. Like I think that's my biggest issue with this movie is it leaves me unhappy. Yes, it has to because it has to, link to what, how episode 4 is. And I have an issue with movies that don't end happily, and it's a me problem, not the movie's problem. So I just want to put that out there again. I don't like movies that don't have happy endings. I've noticed. Like I need stuff with an ending happy but yeah, so going to the box. But I still enjoyed it. Like this, I just really hate the way Anakin goes because I just hate it. It just bothers me.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and I would definitely watch it before I would watch Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, I think so.
But the thing is like with Phantom Menace, I'll put on Phantom Menace just to watch, the pod race, or just to watch the fight scene with Darth Maul, right? There's nothing in this movie that I have any desire to go watch again, even if I think this is a better movie than Phantom Menace overall. And still,
if you want to watch that,
what am I going to rewatch in this exactly?
It's online. Watch on YouTube 8 minutes of it, and it's a whole lot better to watch it all in one consecutive thing than having it broken up. So
yeah.
Okay, I think that's everything for this. And the next Star Wars thing we're going to cover, which will be next month, you guys get to choose. Do you guys want to do Solo or Rogue One next? Either one of those.
If we're going chronological, then it would be Solo next, right?
I say go with Solo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good with that because I want to see Solo. So stay tuned. You will get Solo in June, because when you hear this, which I didn't say at the top of the episode, it's going to be there. If you hear this when it first drops, May 4th or May 5th, this is going to drop. Well, May 4th night it's going to drop. So I purposely have waited over 9 months to do that. Or maybe even a year. I think last year I had the idea, wouldn't that be cool? And that's why I purposely waited for us to do January, so we could do Phantom Menace January, February Attack of Clones, then we had the Clone Wars Tartakosvsky in April, then March I had the Clone Wars CGI film, then I had Tartakosvsky Clone Wars, then I had this. All my plan just so I could do this and drop this on May the 4th, May the 5th.
Yeah, we also got to plan on Mandalorian season 3 because that just finished.
Yeah, that will be. You guys will hear that too. And Bad Batch season 2 is coming too. So
yeah.
I don't know. Those might all drop in like June or May. It depends. Mando's going to drop as soon as we get it done. To be honest, those listening. So because I need to get that out there.
Yeah.
Two of my
still fresh in your mind. I just finished it yesterday, so
I'm going to watch it again. So
yeah, I'm going to rewatch it too. Probably.
It's good. Peter, are you caught up with Mando? Are you watching Mando?
Yeah, I did finish the final episode recently. Yeah. I
won't talk. I won't spoil it here, but yeah, no, so that's what's coming for you guys that enjoy our Star Wars episode. You can hear all those. And Peter, where can people find you at?
I'm on Twitter at PeterBP, and from there or from Amazon.com, you can find my book, The Fifth Civilization. That's the first of a trilogy. And if you like Star Wars, I think you'll like The Fifth Civilization as well.
Yeah, I can say the dialogue is awesome.
Way better than what I just got done watching. The dialogue is way better.
Yeah, you're way better. You're way better at dialogue than George Lucas. That's for sure.
Oh, what a compliment! Thank you.
But I can say now, because I read 200 pages of your 350-page book, it's very good. So go out there and buy it on Amazon.
I like Mateo a lot. Is that his name?
Oh yes, Mateo is the sidekick of the main character. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I don't know. I kind of picture Wong from the MCU a little bit, but more gruffer, and in Japanese instead of Chinese. But still, I kind of had that in my head with him.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
And whenever I think of that, the lizard alien race, I just see Krogans from Mass Effect in my head now because I don't know how else to portray them. So
I don't. You know what? I don't know that. I don't know the analogy, but I'm gonna look them up for sure.
Okay.
I don't know Mass Effect, but I will.
I don't think it's right because I don't know if Krogans have much tails, and I know you're
not talking about the Kangas, are you?
Yeah, those are marsupials, different than those.
Yeah, the Kangas are like kangaroos. I picture what is the movie with the Kung Fu kangaroos?
No,
I don't really. I just
not Kangaroo Jack. Hopefully,
Heroes of Virtue.
Oh, Warriors of Virtue.
Warriors of Virtue. I don't actually.
That's a movie I haven't thought of in a long time.
No, it's a Ice Tea from Tank Girl. That's.
Oh God, we're going far back in the 90s now.
I'm sorry if we can remember 18 years past. Like wow,
I know it's a mystery.
Yeah.
And Kerry, where can people find you at?
Hey, I'm on Twitch, Karooseta, Kerooseta. I'm also on YouTube at the same. Trying to build up my YouTube channel now a little bit more. You can watch me play video games, mostly Dark Souls stuff. Very soon, before this episode even drops, you'll probably see me on there playing Jedi Survivor, which I am extremely excited about. And as of this recording, drops in about 18 hours. About 36 hours. So very excited for that. I'll be streaming that on Twitch. I also occasionally repair and modify video game consoles, though mostly just playing video games lately. But
I really miss caring about new games coming out. That's long gone.
Man, so much stuff right now. So much. We got Jedi Survivor on the 28th and Tears of the Kingdom on May 12th. It's too much.
I'm getting excited to play Kingdom Hearts 2.
I'm also playing Red Dead Redemption because somebody wants me to play it for a podcast.
Oh, I can't wait for that 3-hour episode. So as we get drunk, but
we'll be drinking some Lone Star.
I'm gonna try
some Ziegenbach.
I gotta try to see if I can find a Texas beer in Minnesota, so we'll see how that goes. But if you enjoyed this episode, we have tons of other Star Wars episodes you can find. We've done the whole prequel, so if you want to hear more prequel stuff, you can find that. We did the original trilogy. There's tons of episodes on the podcast. You can find everything on our Podbean website. You go to the search bar, type in Star Wars, you will get all our Star Wars content. Or just type in anything. Type in Daredevil, type in Batman, type in Mystical Ninja. Guess what? You'll find an episode. So go do that. We'll give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Fear. You can follow her on TikTok. If you want to support the show, we do a Patreon for a little $1. You can vote in our Patreon polls. We usually have one poll a month. The current poll for this month is just movies, sequels Mike has never seen. So that's going to be the poll. So you'll see, go vote for $1. You see a link in the show notes. And when you shout out to my buddy Bill Tucker, did the MCU movies with me. He started his own podcast, The Gamer Looks at 40. Definitely go check him out. If you want to chat with us, we have a Discord. You'll see a link in the show notes. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. Audio only, but we are on YouTube. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
No.
Another happy landing.